Janelle Brooks learned something important in neonatal care. The most dangerous situations are the ones nobody sees coming. That morning, sitting in her Napa Valley bridal suite, she realized betrayal worked the same way. Makeup artist blending foundation. Wedding planner finalizing timelines. Champagne chilling. Everything picture perfect. But Janelle hadn't slept. 3 days ago, she'd met the other woman. Not in anger. In strategy. Her phone sat face down on the vanity. 3 unsent draft messages to Terrence. All deleted, all asking the same question. Who is Simone Hart? You look stunning, the makeup artist said, stepping back. Janelle stared at her reflection. The woman looking back appeared calm, collected, ready. Inside, she was running calculations. Medical calculations. Risk assessments. Pattern analysis. Because that's what she did for a living. Birmingham, Alabama. 1995. Before we continue, if you want to uncover what happens next in this shocking tale and never miss another jaw-dropping twist, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell right now. This support helps this channel bring you even more stories like this. Now let's jump deep into the story. Janelle was 7 when her mother died. Sudden, unexpected, the kind of loss that restructures a child's understanding of stability forever. Her grandmother, Mama June, took her in without hesitation. A retired schoolteacher with arthritis in both hands and a mortgage she'd been paying for 23 years. Baby girl, Mama June said the night after the funeral, brushing Janelle's hair in the dim kitchen light. Life don't give you what you want. It gives you what you can handle. And we're going to handle this together. Janelle learned responsibility early. Homework before play. Chores before cartoons. Money saved before spent. By 12, she was tracking the household budget. By 15, working part-time at the corner pharmacy. By 18, she had a full scholarship to nursing school. Mama June would sit in her rocking chair, watching Janelle study late into the night. You're building something, baby. Brick by brick. Don't let nobody tear it down. Janelle took those words seriously. She graduated top of her nursing class, specialized in neonatal care, became a nurse practitioner by 28. In Houston's medical community, she built a reputation as someone who noticed things others missed. In the NICU, patterns meant everything. Heart rate irregularities, breathing inconsistencies, subtle changes in skin tone. The babies couldn't tell you what was wrong. You had to observe, document, trust the data. Janelle saved lives by paying attention. Houston, Texas. Medical Tech Fundraiser. March 2023. Janelle met Terrence Cole at a charity gala supporting maternal health technology. She'd been invited by the Hospital Foundation Board. He'd been invited as a featured speaker, rising tech entrepreneur, startup founder, future disruptor. He stood at the podium in a perfectly tailored Navy suit, talking about venture capital, scalable solutions, building legacy businesses. The future isn't about what exists today, Terrence said, his voice smooth and confident. It's about what we're brave enough to create together. After his talk, Terrence approached her table directly. You're Janelle Brooks, he said, extending his hand. The NICU specialist everyone's been talking about. She blinked. You know who I am? I research everyone at these events. He smiled. You published a paper on predictive analytics in neonatal care last year. Pattern recognition using real-time monitoring data. Brilliant work. Janelle felt something shift. He'd done his homework. He saw her work, not just her appearance. Can I buy you a drink? Terrence asked. I'd love to hear more about how you use data modeling in healthcare. That conversation lasted 3 hours. Terrence wasn't like other men Janelle had dated. He didn't just listen, he engaged. Asked follow-up questions. Connected her medical methodology to his business strategies. You and I think the same way, he said as the event wound down. We see systems. We build solutions. We don't accept status quo. Janelle felt seen in a way she hadn't experienced before. The next 6 months moved fast. Private concert in Manhattan. Terrence rented an entire jazz club for their 1-month anniversary. Weekend in Cabo. Private villa. Champagne on the balcony. I want to build something permanent with you, he said. Investor dinners where he introduced her as my future wife before they'd even discussed engagement. Janelle noticed the escalation but interpreted it as intensity. Passion. Commitment. Mama June called it something else. Baby girl, she said during a phone call in September. You sure about this man? You've only known him 6 months. He's different, Mama June. He sees me. The skepticism in her grandmother's voice was thick. Just make sure he's seeing you, not what he can get from you. Janelle dismissed the concern. Mama June was protective, old-fashioned. By December, Terrence proposed. Napa Valley. Sunset. Drone photographer capturing every angle. The ring was enormous. Flawless. I'm building an empire, Terrence said, kneeling in the vineyard. And I want you beside me as my queen. Janelle said yes. But even then, something felt slightly off. Not wrong, exactly. Just calculated. The proposal photos appeared on his Instagram 45 minutes later. Perfectly curated. Professionally edited. But he never tagged her. Never mentioned her name. When Janelle asked about it, Terrence said, I'm protecting your privacy, babe. You're not a public figure. I don't want people bothering you. It made sense. Kind of. Wedding planning consumed the next 8 months. Terrence handled everything. Venue selection. Vendor contracts. Guest list management. You're too busy saving babies, he said. Let me handle the logistics. Janelle appreciated the gesture. Her hospital schedule was brutal. But patterns started emerging. He always booked travel separately. Easier for my assistant to manage. He never wanted her meeting his family. They're complicated. Let's wait until after the wedding. His phone was always face down. Always on silent. Always locked. Investor confidentiality, he said. I can't have people accessing sensitive business information. Reasonable explanations. Logical answers. But Janelle's training kicked in. In medicine, isolated symptoms meant nothing. Symptom clusters formed patterns. And patterns revealed diagnoses. The rehearsal dinner. Napa Valley. October 2024. 50 guests. Vineyard terrace. String lights. Perfectly plated appetizers. Terrence gave a toast. Thanked investors for supporting his vision. Thanked Janelle for being the woman who completes my future. Applause. Smiles. Camera flashes. Then his phone buzzed. Terrence glanced at the screen. His expression shifted, just for a second. Tension around his jaw. Excuse me, he said quietly, stepping away from the table. Janelle watched him walk toward the vineyard edge, phone pressed to his ear. She couldn't hear most of the conversation, but she heard the end. Terrence's voice, low and urgent. She can't find out yet. Not before Saturday. Just keep her away until after the ceremony. He ended the call. Turned around. Saw Janelle watching. Smiled immediately. Investor drama. You know how it is. Janelle smiled back. But inside, every alarm in her nervous system activated. She can't find out yet. Keep her away. Who was she? And what wasn't Janelle supposed to find out? Janelle Brooks didn't panic. She investigated. That night, after champagne toasts and well wishes, after Terrence kissed her goodnight, citing pre-wedding tradition, Janelle sat alone in her suite. She opened her laptop and started looking for patterns. In neonatal care, Janelle had learned a critical principle. Trust the data, not the explanation. Parents would insist their baby was fine. He's just tired. She's always fussy. But monitors didn't lie. Heart rates didn't fabricate. Oxygen saturation levels told the truth. Terrence's explanations had been smooth, logical, reassuring. But data didn't care about charm. Janelle pulled up their shared calendar, the one Terrence insisted on maintaining for coordination purposes. She started cross-referencing. August 14th. Calendar. Atlanta, investor meetings. Credit card alert. Joint account Phoenix Marriott. $847. September 3rd. Calendar. Austin product demo. LinkedIn location tag. Phoenix, Arizona. September 22nd. Calendar. San Francisco VC pitch. Instagram story from business contact. Great catching up with at Terrence Cole in Phoenix. Story immediately deleted. Phoenix. 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 Terrence had no business interests there. No investors. No clients. So why did he keep going back? She opened his email, the account he'd shared with her for transparency. She'd never looked before. Now she searched. Phoenix. 47 results. Hotel confirmations. Flight bookings. Car rental receipts. Then, buried in a forwarded itinerary from March. Guest 2. Simone Hart. Janelle stared at the name. Who was Simone Hart? She opened a private browser window. Searched the name plus Phoenix, Arizona. LinkedIn profile appeared first. Simone Hart. Event coordinator. Phoenix, Arizona. Professional photo. Smiling. Janelle clicked through to Instagram. Private account. But the profile picture showed Simone holding a baby. Infant. Maybe 3 months old. Janelle's medical brain automatically calculated. 3-month-old infant. Conception approximately 12 months ago. 12 months ago, Terrence had told Janelle he was focusing exclusively on their relationship. No distractions. Total commitment. She kept searching. Found a baby registry from 6 months ago. Simone Hart, baby boy, expected March 2024. Father's name listed, T. Cole. Janelle felt the room tilt. She didn't scream. Didn't cry. She sat very still. Then she did what she always did when facing a critical diagnosis. She gathered more data. Over the next 48 hours, Janelle found bank alerts showing payments to Arizona Family Medical Center. A life insurance policy application listing dependent child pending. Text message backup from Terrence's iPad, synced to household Wi-Fi. Baby's doing great. Misses his daddy. When are you coming back? Sent from a Phoenix number. Replied, soon. Have to keep things quiet a little longer. Janelle photographed everything. Saved everything. Backed everything up to a private cloud account Terrence didn't know existed. Not revenge documentation. Protection documentation. Because if there was one thing Mama June taught her, always have your own records, baby girl. Always. Monday morning. 3 days before the wedding. Janelle was reviewing her evidence folder when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. We need to talk. About Terrence. Meet me? SH. Janelle's heart stopped. SH. Simone Hart. She typed back. When? Today. San Francisco. I'll drive up. Coffee shop on Market Street. 2 p.m. Please come alone. The coffee shop was crowded. Loud. Anonymous. Janelle arrived first. Ordered black coffee she wouldn't drink. Sat in the back corner. At 2:03 p.m., a woman walked in. Simone Hart. She looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair pulled back messily. She carried a diaper bag over one shoulder. Their eyes met. Simone walked over. Sat down. For 30 seconds, neither woman spoke. Then Simone said quietly, You're Janelle Brooks. You're Simone Hart. I didn't know about you until 2 weeks ago. Janelle's throat tightened. I didn't know about you until 3 days ago. Simone pulled out her phone. Opened photos. Turned the screen around. Text messages. Hundreds of them. Between her and Terrence. Same affectionate language. Same, build our future together promises. Same, you're the only one for me declarations. He told me he was building his business, Simone said. Said he had to travel constantly. I believed him. She swiped to another photo. A baby. Beautiful. Maybe 4 months old. This is Elijah, Simone said. Terrence's son. Janelle's hands trembled. Does he know? About the baby? He was there for the birth. Simone's voice cracked. Held him in the hospital. Cried. Said he'd never felt more purpose. And then he started disappearing. Weeks at a time. I'd call. He'd say investor emergencies. I'd ask when he was coming back. He'd say soon. Simone pulled out another document. Placed it on the table. A wedding announcement. Terrence Cole and Janelle Brooks. October 19th, 2024. Napa Valley, California. I found this on his assistant's accidentally forwarded email, Simone said. That's when I knew. They sat in that coffee shop for 3 hours. Compared timelines. Overlapping trips. Identical promises. Terrence had built 2 separate lives. 2 separate futures. With 2 separate women. What are you going to do? Janelle finally asked. Simone reached into her bag. Pulled out a legal folder. I already did it. I ordered a paternity test. Court certified. Results came back yesterday. She opened the folder. Showed Janelle the document. DNA paternity test results. 99.9% probability. Biological father, Terrence Michael Cole. I called my attorney, Simone continued. She said the best way to ensure he can't deny Elijah or avoid child support is to establish paternity publicly. Undeniably. What does that mean? Simone looked Janelle directly in the eyes. It means I'm going to your wedding. With this document. And I'm going to make sure everyone, especially those investors he's trying to impress, knows exactly who Terrence Cole really is. Janelle should have felt shocked, angry, devastated. Instead, she felt clarity. When? Janelle asked. Saturday. During the ceremony. You're going to walk down the aisle? Yes. Janelle sat back. Processed. Public humiliation. Scandal. Chaos. Everything she'd spent her life avoiding. But then she thought about Terrence. His smooth explanations. His calculated promises. His ability to make two women believe they were his entire world while he systematically deceived them both. She thought about Mama June's voice. Don't let nobody tear down what you built, baby girl. Terrence hadn't just torn down what Janelle built. He'd never intended to build anything real at all. What do you need from me? Janelle asked. Simone blinked, surprised. You're not going to try to stop me? No, Janelle said. I'm going to help you. They made a plan. Not revenge. Strategy. Simone would arrive at the venue during the ceremony, coordinating with her attorney for legal documentation purposes. Janelle would proceed as normal. Walk down the aisle. Let Terrence think everything was perfect. Then, public, documented, undeniable exposure. Why are you doing this? Simone asked as they prepared to leave. Janelle thought about the babies in the NICU, the ones whose lives depended on someone paying attention, someone catching the warning signs, someone acting before it was too late. Because some betrayals don't just hurt one person, Janelle said. They show you a pattern. And patterns like this keep repeating unless someone stops them. Simone nodded slowly. So we stop him. We stop him. Wednesday night, 48 hours before the wedding. Janelle's phone buzzed. Text from Simone. Attorney confirmed everything. Legal documentation ready. Are you absolutely sure about this? Janelle looked around her hotel suite. Wedding dress hanging by the window. Shoes laid out. Bouquet in the mini fridge. She typed back. Let him walk into it. Saturday, October 19th, 2024. 3:47 p.m. Napa Valley, California. Janelle Brooks stood in the bridal suite, fully dressed, watching through the window as guests took their seats. 200 people. White chairs in perfect rows. String quartet warming up. Drone camera hovering overhead. She could see Terrence at the altar. Custom Tom Ford suit. Hair perfectly styled. Laughing with his best man. Shaking hands with investors in the front row. He looked confident. Successful. Happy. He had no idea. The wedding planner knocked softly. Janelle? We're ready for you. Janelle picked up her bouquet. White roses. Gardenias. 1 minute, she said. She pulled out her phone. Last text from Simone, sent 15 minutes ago. I'm here. Parking now. Attorney with me. This is really happening. Janelle typed back. I'm ready. She wasn't sure if that was true, but she was sure of this. Terrence Cole had underestimated both of them, and he was about to learn what accountability looked like. The music started. Pachelbel's Canon in D. Guests stood. Janelle began her walk down the aisle, one step at a time, smiling, composed. She could see Terrence's face. Pride, possession, relief. He thought he'd won. She reached the halfway point. Then, the music stopped abruptly. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. The back doors opened again, and another woman in white walked in. Simone Hart. She wore a simple white dress. Not a wedding gown, exactly, but unmistakably bridal. In her hands, a leather folder. She walked slowly, deliberately, down the center aisle. Guests turned, shocked. Phones came out. Camera flashes started. Terrence's face went pale. What the? Simone stopped 10 feet from the altar. She opened the folder, and in a clear, steady voice, she spoke. My name is Simone Hart, and I need everyone here to know that Terrence Cole is the biological father of my 4-month-old son, Elijah Michael Hart. She held up the document. This is a court-certified DNA paternity test. Results confirmed. 99.9% probability. Gasps. Shocked whispers. Phones recording from every angle. Terrence tried to speak. This is insane. She's lying. Simone continued calmly. Terrence and I were together for 2 years. He was present at Elijah's birth. He held his son in the hospital. He told me he loved me. He told me we'd build a future together. She turned to Janelle. I didn't know about you until 2 weeks ago, and I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to make sure Terrence can't hide from his responsibilities. Not anymore. Janelle stood perfectly still. Every eye in the venue turned to her, waiting for her reaction, expecting tears, expecting collapse. Instead, Janelle looked at Terrence. She saw panic in his eyes. Calculation. He was already planning his explanation, his spin, his way out. But there was no way out. Not with 200 witnesses. Not with video footage. Not with legal documentation. Janelle walked slowly toward him. Terrence reached for her hand. Janelle, please, let me explain. She pulled back, removed her engagement ring, held it up so everyone could see. Then, very deliberately, very calmly, she placed it in his palm and closed his fingers around it. You don't have to explain anything, she said quietly. You already showed me exactly who you are. She turned to Simone. Thank you, Janelle said, for your courage. Simone nodded, tears in her eyes. Then Janelle walked back down the aisle. Alone, head high, stride steady. The crowd parted. Cameras followed her every step. She didn't run, didn't hide her face. She walked out of that venue with the same composure she used in the NICU, the same calm she maintained during medical emergencies. Because this wasn't a crisis. This was clarity. Behind her, chaos erupted. Terrence tried to regain control. Everyone, please, this is a misunderstanding. But investors were already standing, whispering urgently, pulling out phones. The best man grabbed Terrence's arm. Dude, we need to go? Now. Wedding coordinator frantically signaling to cut the sound system. Guests streaming toward exits. And Simone, standing calmly at the altar, handing her attorney's card to anyone who asked. By 4:30 p.m., the wedding footage was online. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Second bride interrupts ceremony with paternity test. Tech CEO caught living double life. Wedding goes viral after secret baby reveal. By 5 p.m., Terrence's board members were calling emergency meetings. By 6 p.m., investors were requesting financial audits. By 7 p.m., Terrence Cole's carefully constructed empire started crumbling. Because he'd built his entire life on deception. And deception, once exposed, destroys everything. 6 months later, April 2025, Houston, Texas. Janelle Brooks sat in a conference room with 5 maternal rights attorneys, 2 financial data analysts, and Simone Hart. No cameras, no drama, just work. Strategic, methodical, permanent work. The months after the wedding had been brutal. Media attention, constant questions. Well-meaning friends saying, I can't believe you didn't know. But Janelle didn't waste time on regret. She'd returned to the hospital, focused on her patients, let the chaos settle. And quietly, she'd begun building something new. It started with a phone call from Simone. 3 weeks after the wedding. I got the child support order, Simone said. Full legal paternity established. Monthly payments mandated. That's great. But here's the thing. My attorney says Terrence has been doing this kind of financial maneuvering for years. Hiding assets. Creating shell corporations. Making himself look less wealthy on paper. How common is that? Extremely. Especially in cases like mine. Single mothers trying to get child support from high-income fathers. The system isn't built to catch these patterns. Janelle went quiet. Patterns? Yeah. What? I track patterns for a living. That conversation led to another. And another. Janelle connected Simone with her hospital's legal department. They connected with family court advocates. Those advocates connected with financial compliance researchers. Within 2 months, they had a working group. Within 4 months, funding from a maternal health foundation. Within 6 months, a prototype. A financial pattern recognition system designed to detect child support evasion tactics. The system tracked multi-household income masking behaviors, shell corporation formations coinciding with paternity establishments, asset transfer patterns during custody negotiations, hidden bank account indicators, income underreporting red flags. It wasn't revenge. It was infrastructure. Janelle didn't want to destroy Terrence. She wanted to build systems that made his behavior impossible to repeat. You realize, one of the attorneys said during a development meeting, if this works, it'll change how family courts handle high-income child support cases nationwide. Good, Janelle replied. Simone looked at her. This isn't about him anymore, is it? No. It's about every woman who comes after us. Every child who deserves support. Every person who shouldn't have to detective work their way to basic accountability. Meanwhile, Terrence's life was unraveling. The viral wedding video triggered investor scrutiny. Investor scrutiny triggered financial audits. Financial audits revealed inflated revenue projections. Inflated revenue projections triggered SEC inquiries. And through it all, Terrence kept making the same mistake. He underestimated the paper trail. In July, Janelle received a subpoena. Financial misrepresentation civil case. Terrence's investors were suing. They wanted documentation of his financial claims during their relationship. Janelle provided everything. Every dinner conversation she'd quietly documented. Every pitch deck he'd sent her for feedback. Every revenue projection he'd inflated. She wasn't vindictive. She was thorough. The attorney handling the investor case called her afterward. Ms. Brooks, I have to ask, why did you save all of this? I'm a neonatal nurse practitioner, Janelle explained. In the NICU, we document everything. Every observation, every intervention, every data point. Because when lives are at stake, memory isn't good enough. You need records. And you applied that to your personal life? I applied it to protecting myself. The attorney was quiet for a moment. You probably don't realize this, but your documentation might be what brings down his entire operation. Janelle thought about Terrence's confidence, his certainty that he could talk his way out of anything. He'd never considered that the woman he'd underestimated was trained to notice, document, and act on patterns. Good, Janelle said. By October, 1 year after the wedding, the system Janelle and Simone built entered pilot testing. 3 family courts. 50 cases. Results. 73% increase in successful child support enforcement. 41% faster case resolution times. $2.1 million in previously hidden assets identified. The data spoke for itself. November 2025. Maternal Health Tech Conference. San Francisco. Janelle stood backstage, preparing for her keynote presentation. 500 attendees. Healthcare advocates. Legal professionals. Technology developers. Her phone buzzed. Text from Simone. Ready? Ready. Simone appeared beside her. You nervous? Simone asked. No, Janelle said. For the first time in 2 years, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. The presentation began. Janelle walked onto the stage. Simone followed. The room went quiet. Many attendees recognized them from the viral wedding video. They expected drama, victim narratives, emotional testimony. They got something different. My name is Janelle Brooks, she began. And this is Simone Hart. 18 months ago, we both discovered we'd been deceived by the same man. Today, we're here to talk about what we built from that betrayal. The screen behind them lit up. Financial Pattern Recognition System for Child Support Enforcement. Simone took the microphone. We're not here to talk about revenge. We're here to talk about infrastructure, about building systems that protect people from the kind of harm we experienced. They walked through the data, the methodology, the pilot results, the expansion potential. The room erupted in applause. During the Q&A, someone asked, what would you say to the man who hurt you both? Janelle and Simone exchanged glances. Simone spoke first. I'd say thank you for showing me exactly what needed to change. Janelle nodded. And I'd say his behavior didn't break us. It showed us our purpose. After the presentation, they stood in the hotel hallway, exhausted but exhilarated. We actually did it, Simone said. Yeah, we did. Do you think he knows about the system? Janelle smiled slightly. I hope so. Because somewhere, in some courtroom or compliance hearing, Terrence Cole was learning a hard lesson. The women he'd underestimated had built the system that exposed him. And that system would outlast them all. February 2026. Houston, Texas. Federal Courthouse. Terrence Cole sat at the defendant's table, listening to his attorney present mitigating arguments in his financial misrepresentation case. The judge looked unimpressed. Mr. Cole, she said, I've reviewed the evidence, including comprehensive financial documentation provided by multiple sources. The pattern of deception here is extraordinary. Terrence's attorney tried to interject. Your Honor, my client. Your client systematically misrepresented his financial status to investors, romantic partners, and family court. He created parallel financial structures designed to hide assets and avoid obligations. She picked up a document. What's particularly notable is that much of the evidence against him comes from a new financial pattern recognition system designed to detect exactly this type of behavior. Terrence felt his stomach drop. After the hearing, his attorney pulled him aside. You need to understand something. That system that flagged your financial patterns? It was built using data that included your own behavior. What are you talking about? The maternal health tech company that developed it, it was co-founded by Janelle Brooks and Simone Hart. Terrence went pale. You're joking. I'm not. They used your case as part of their training dataset. Anonymized, but your pattern of hidden accounts, parallel households, income masking, it's all in there. Teaching the algorithm what to look for. That's not legal. It's completely legal. And it's brilliant. You essentially trained the system that caught you. Terrence sat in his car afterward, unable to move. He'd underestimated them. Both of them. He'd thought Janelle was just a nurse. Sweet. Naive. Easy to manage. He'd thought Simone was just overwhelmed. struggling single mother. Wouldn't fight back. Instead, they'd turned his betrayal into infrastructure. They'd built a system that would protect thousands of women and children. And they'd used his own behavior to do it. March 2026. Birmingham, Alabama. Janelle stood in front of her grandmother's grave. Mama June had passed 2 years earlier, just before Janelle met Terrence. She placed flowers on the headstone. "You taught me survival," Janelle said quietly. "You taught me to build brick by brick, to trust patterns over words, to protect what matters." The wind picked up slightly, rustling through the Alabama pines. "I built something, Mama June. Something that'll last longer than any wedding would have. Something that actually matters." She smiled. "And I made sure he couldn't hurt anyone else the way he hurt us." April 2026. Phoenix, Arizona. Simone sat in her living room, Elijah playing with blocks on the floor. He was 14 months old now. Happy, healthy, secure. Her phone buzzed. News alert. Multi-state family courts adopt new financial screening protocol. Child support enforcement reform expands nationally. She smiled. The system worked. Not just for her. For everyone. That evening, she texted Janelle. "Did you see the news? We're officially nationwide." "Saw it. Hard to believe." "Think he knows?" "I guarantee he knows." "Good." May 2026. Tech industry publication, cover story. How 2 women turned personal betrayal into systemic change. The article featured Janelle and Simone. Not as victims. Not as revenge seekers. As builders. As innovators. As women who refused to let betrayal define them, and instead used it to redefine protection systems for others. The article's closing paragraph. When asked what message they'd send to other women facing similar betrayals, Brooks and Hart were united in their response. "Don't waste energy destroying the person who hurt you. Use that energy building systems that make that kind of harm impossible to repeat." The best revenge isn't personal. It's structural. June 2026. Houston, Texas. Janelle walked into the NICU for her morning shift. Same job, same patients, same purpose. But everything felt different now. A colleague stopped her in the hallway. "Hey, did you see they're teaching your financial tracking system in law schools now?" "I heard." "That's incredible. You changed an entire field." Janelle smiled. "I just paid attention to patterns." That afternoon, between patient rounds, she checked her email. Message from a family court judge in Michigan. "Ms. Brooks, I wanted you to know that your system helped us identify $480,000 in hidden assets in a child support case this morning. A single mother and her 3 children will now receive the support they deserve. Thank you for building this." Janelle closed her laptop. This was why it mattered. Not because Terrence got caught, but because other women wouldn't have to detective work their way to justice. Because other children wouldn't grow up without support. Because betrayal, when transformed, could become protection. As for Terrence, his startup failed. Investors withdrew. Board members resigned. He became a case study in business ethics classes. A cautionary tale in family law textbooks. His name permanently associated with deception, financial fraud, and systemic manipulation. But more than that, his behavior became the foundation of a system that would prevent countless others from following his path. Every compliance check, every financial screening, every pattern recognition algorithm that caught hidden assets carried traces of the lessons learned from his betrayal. He'd wanted to build a legacy. He got one, just not the kind he'd imagined. Final scene, Janelle's office. 1 year later, a young woman sat across from Janelle's desk, 26 years old, pregnant. Recently discovered her partner had been lying about his income to avoid child support obligations. "I don't know what to do," the woman said, fighting tears. "My attorney says it's almost impossible to prove." Janelle leaned forward. 5 years ago, you'd be right. But things have changed." She pulled up the financial screening system, showed the woman how it worked. This system was built by women who refused to accept that betrayal had to be permanent damage. "We turned our experience into infrastructure. And now that infrastructure protects you." The woman's eyes widened. "This really works?" "It really works." After the woman left, Janelle sat alone in her office. She thought about the wedding that never happened, the life she'd thought she was building with Terrence. She didn't regret losing that life, because she'd gained something better. Purpose, impact, legacy. Not the kind of legacy Terrence had chased, recognition, wealth, status, but the kind that actually mattered. Protection, justice, change. She pulled out her phone, texted Simone. Just helped another woman. System worked perfectly. That's what we built it for. Yeah, we did good. We really did. Final line. Some betrayals don't destroy you. They show you exactly what needs to change. And if you're brave enough, you become the one who changes it. The end.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Subscribe, like, and click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.